This is the Atlanta attachment model, AAC300UX6. The following instructional guide will explain in detail the lubrication of the machine. Adding oil to the unit is a necessary daily procedure that extends the life of all components and provides for continuous reliable operation. Before starting, turn off the unit and follow your company safety procedures. Use the pressure oil can, which is furnished with the machine, to oil all the points that require lubrication. The following procedure must be done just before the beginning of every working shift. Start injecting 1 shot of sewing machine oil or a light squeeze of the bottle, which is the equivalent of 6 drops, into the upper and the lower main shaft. Proceed to the back of the unit and inject 2 drops of oil into each lubrication hole and 1 drop into the moving components. Open the needle bar cover and repeat the procedure. Open the latch of the looper cover and repeat the process. The last step is to add 2 drops of oil to each of the lubrication holes on the machine bed plate. Let's follow a step-by-step explanation and visual demonstration through every lubrication spot. The machine has a semi-automatic lubricating system comprising of a hollow arm shaft and a hollow bed shaft, which act as reservoirs. It is very important to observe the correct lubrication of these 2 shafts, since the oil that we drop in them will also lubricate the eccentrics or cams inside. The arm shaft has a screw, an oil stop ball, a spring, and an oil control stick. The oil control stick will freely rotate inside the shafts, working as a check valve, stopping the release of oil as soon as the machine stops. When the machine runs, the oil is distributed internally to all principal components. The centrifugal force injects the oil through several small holes located in the shaft. The upper shaft has 3 holes that fall directly into the lifting eccentric and the needle bar rock frame driving eccentric. If we look at this part, we have 1 more hole. The oil will fall into this area and lubricate this bearing. The next eccentric has a similar hole. The oil also falls inside the part and lubricates the bearing. Lastly, we found the 3rd perforation. The oil goes internally through the shaft and reaches the needle bar crank. The internal oil stop ball and the spring at the left end of the shaft must be assembled correctly. Otherwise, all the oil you pour inside the shaft will come out directly through it. The oil moves through a couple of internal channels and reaches the needle bar connecting link. As a final point to lubricate the bearing. The next step is to lubricate the bed shaft. The lower shaft has a similar construction to the upper one, but only it can be oiled from the right-hand end of the machine. It has 3 holes that fall directly into the spreader and the feed driving eccentrics. And 2 holes at the end of the shaft. They are responsible for the lubrication of the lopper looper driving crank and the feed lifting eccentric. On the top part of the machine, we have multiple external lubrication points. Apply 2 drops of oil in all the places, as shown, and just 1 drop of oil on the rest of the moving parts. The oil that was applied on the back cover will fall into the presser foot lifting rock shaft, lubricating the area. On the side front cover of the machine, when removed, you will find multiple red marks with several essential lubrication spots. In this area there are 2 main assemblies, the presser foot lifting linkage and the needle bar. On the lifting linkage, you will find several lubricating holes. Add a couple of drops on each one to lubricate all the articulated parts. These 2 oil wicks inside the hinge pins will absorb the oil. Add 2 drops of oil to the needle bar connecting stud wick and to these 2 needle bar lubricating felts. Add 2 drops of oil inside the hollow presser foot bar. And finally, add 2 drops of oil to the needle bar rock frame. Now, let's take a look at the 2 bed plates. In the right one, we have 6 lubricating spots. Add 2 drops of oil to each one. Underneath the plate, we have a tube that directs the oil to the correct place. The oil falls directly into the different areas that need to be lubricated. On the left bed cover, we have 11 lubrication points. Add 2 drops of oil to each one. Underneath, we also have a couple of tubes that help to guide the oil into the right places. The final step will be to lubricate the looper area. Add a couple of drops of oil to the looper carrier shaft and to the 2 feed lifting pin wicks. We at Atlanta Attachment Company can provide all the required parts and tools to support this machine. Please visit our webpage www.atlatt.com or contact your sales representative.